Chapter 4. Orc Room. What? Rias shouted at what she just heard from Irina and Zenobia. She was at a loss of words. She had been in a meeting with the two, and they sounded as if they were going to ask to join her peerage. But only now did they reveal they wanted to be in Naruto's peerage. The only problem was he didn't have one. Speaking of Naruto, she finally noticed his appearance. Naruto, what happened to you? Rias questioned as she looked at the familiar markings on his body and his yellow eyes. This also caught the attention of the current occupants of the room. Akino picking up the cups that they just drank tea from. Kiba standing in the corner of the room. And Asia sitting in the spot next to Kaniko's usual seat on the couch. I'm not really sure. Just woke up like this. Naruto answered. It wasn't really a lie. He knew it had to do something with using his balance breaker before he was ready, as How explained. But that was as far as he knew. He needed to ask his sleeping tenants about this once they woke up. Rias stared at Naruto with a calculating eye, looking for any signs of deceit. When she saw him pondering his own answer, she knew he really had no clue what was wrong. Okay. Rias accepted his answer. She then turned to Irina and Zenobia. I'm sure Naruto would be glad to add you to his peerage, but he doesn't have one. Rias explained. Before she could continue, Naruto spoke. That is where you are wrong. I actually have my own set of evil pieces. In fact, I already have 2 members with me. He gestured to Kuroka. My bishop, he then gestured to Ravel, and my queen. Those words froze the occupants in the room besides those who already knew. No one had expected Naruto to say that. Or even for him to get his own peerage before taking part in an official raiding game. WN? How? Rias stuttered out. The meeting I had with Surzex. Naruto answered. The Satans are finally grow a backbone and changing up the way the underworld runs things. Specifically when it comes to promoting devils to high-class rank. Naruto explained. They no longer care how many contracts or chores we do. They are taking in one's skill level and overall talent. The first devil to undergo this new change is me. He continued. And probably the biggest change, and one that many of the newer generation's devils will disagree with, is this: any devil born of the 72 pillars is no longer granted the rank of high class and a peerage without undergoing various tests similar to those of reincarnated devils for those rights. Naruto explained. Does that mean? Rias couldn't finish her question as fear overtook her. No. Any devil from the pillars already granted the rank of high class and a peerage will remain as they are, as it will take years to take back all the evil pieces used and possibly cause another civil war. Rias let out the breath she was holding in relief. They don't want an incident like Riser, a high class, humiliated by me as I was a low class devil at the time. Rias was happy at the new changes. She knew that she probably wouldn't have had her peerage, she still would have taken them in if she could. This also made it easier for reincarnated devils to get promoted without a bias for them being a half-breed or impure devil. She widened her eyes as she realized what getting a new peerage meant. Naruto saw the look of realization on her face and spoke before she did. Yes, I have my own peerage, so that comes with new responsibilities. Naruto started. I am still part of your peerage, so I will still be there when you need me for raiding games and such. But I must now work on building my peerage and handling my duties as a king. Rias was saddened by this. She knew that he had to uphold duties as a king, but she didn't want him to leave. Ever since her brother adopted him, they were never apart for long. But now he seemed to get even more distant, and it was all her own doing. She wanted to tell him to stay, but knew the way to earn his forgiveness and friendship was to let him be. I understand. Rias said sadly. But where are you going to have your meetings? If you want, you can have them here. Rias said, hoping he would accept. Thank you for the offer, but I already have a place for my peerage, Naruto said. He then turned to walk out with Kuroka and Revel following. He took a step before a pull on his shirt stopped him. He turned and looked at who pulled his shirt and saw it was Kaneko. She still had his shirt in her hand as she had her head down. Naruto knew what she wanted. He embraced her in a loving hug. She immediately returned it and Naruto felt her work strength in the hug. Naruto then leaned down to her ear and whispered something that only Kuroka was able to hear. Kaneko nodded and released him while Kuroka had a loving smile on her face. She was happy her sister was able to find someone special after all she's been through. I'll see you later, Kaneko, Naruto said. He then turned to Irina and Zenovia. As for your request, follow me and we can discuss this further. They nodded and followed behind his queen and bishop. As Naruto went to open the door, Issei walked through it. Sorry I'm late, Bucho. My alarm didn't go off, Issei said before he noticed Naruto and the others in the room. Issei pointed a finger at Revel, but before Issei could shout, Naruto put a hand on his shoulder. Issei winced at the pressure Naruto was using to squeeze his shoulder. She is my queen now, so don't worry about a thing, Naruto said in a dark tone. Also, if I were you I would save that energy. I mean, killing a rogue exorcist like Freed must be taxing on you. Issei looked at him dumbfounded. I didn't kill him. He got away while you were fighting that crow guy. He was the one who kicked our asses even with one arm. Naruto smirked. That was all he needed to hear. Issei had just signed his own death warrant. I'll be off. I'll leave him to you, Rias, Naruto said before he and his peerage, plus Irina and Zenovia, left the clubroom. What did he mean by that, Bucho? Issei said with slight fear at the frown on Ria's face that showed she was angry. The sadistic smile that Akino had just fueled Issei's uneasiness. He looked at Kiba and Kaneko for support only to see one eating sweets already and the other reading, pretending not to notice anything. He turned to Asia and found her staring at her feet with a pondering look on her face. He turned back to Rias as she spoke. Now Issei, do you care to tell me why you lied to me? Rias questioned. What do you mean? Oh, nothing major. Just about how you told us that you killed the rogue exorcist Freed at the church the night we saved Asia. Rias informed him. That was when realization dawned on Issei and he knew he screwed up. It doesn't matter. What does matter is your punishment. He shivered as he heard Akino giggle. First, you will now do some contracts from our piles. If you do not at least form one new contract a week, you will get double the amount than before. He nodded. Second, you will now be responsible for cleaning the clubroom and helping Akino in anything she needs help with. He nodded, albeit a bit fearfully, as Akino had an evil glint in her eye. And finally, no more peeping. What? You can't do that to me, Bucho. I need to an or dash. Enough. Rias yelled, flaring her aurora, shocking Asia and Issei as they weren't used to it yet. I have tolerated your behavior in the past, but this is now ridiculous. Do you not realize that you were almost killed? If Naruto hadn't shown up when he did, Kokobile would have killed us all. He was one of the leaders of Grigori for a reason. Issei put his head down. So, instead of spending your free time peeping on girls, you will be training. Alino will training you in magic while Kiba works on your physique. Issei nodded at this. And if we find you peeping again, well, you won't be allowed to leave this room until the rest of the school is gone. Issei paled at what she said. He wouldn't be able to see his friends, or worse, any girls at all. He quickly nodded, agreeing with what Rias said. Good. Now, we have an hour before school starts, so you guys are free to do what you need, Rias said as she returned to her desk filing away contracts. With Naruto. Here it is, Naruto said to the others as they walked up to an older-looking building. This used to be the pool room for the swim team, but they no longer use it as they built a newer one by the pool lockers. They looked around and saw the pool less than 100 feet away. Some of the fence around the pool connected to the other side of the building. They then looked at the building. It was an older one-story building. It was about as old as the ORC room, but had dust as it hadn't been used in the last couple of years. Naruto walked to the door and pulled out a key for it. It hasn't been used in the last 5 years, so it is our responsibility to clean it up, Naruto said as he opened the door. Upon opening it, dust flew around from the door not being open in so long. When it settled down and they walked in, they were amazed at what they saw. The interior of the room was white with a two-lead floor. There was a couch in the middle of the room facing the wall where you could tell a television was by the wires that dangled from the wall. Behind the couch was a kitchen area with a stove and sink in place. It also had a small bar area with cushioned stools. A gap in between the pantry and the stove indicating that was where a fridge goes. Towards the back of the room was a pool table that was covered with a tarp. The pool cues were hanging on the wall beside it. A corner of the room had enough space for a desk for Naruto. They also noticed the room had an actual bathroom with a shower inside it. The last feature was the big glass sliding doors at the other side of the room. They were covered with drapes. When Naruto parted them, it revealed a great view of the pool. "Wow," said Ravel. For old dusty building, it was actually quite nice. Just needed some cleaning up. It wasn't anything compared to anything the underworld had to offer, but devils did tend to make everything as perfect as they could to show off. "Naya, this place is great," Kuroka said with a grin. She loved that this was next to the pool. She could now and try to seduce Naruto in one of her bikinis. Irina and Zenobia just looked around impressed that the school was able to afford something of this caliber. A little cleaning and this place would look pretty good, Naruto said, already thinking of how to set up the room. He turned and looked at the pool. It was a little dirty and small traces of algae could be seen. Sona also said the pool is ours to use if we clean it till swim season starts up again. Kuroka smiled while Ravel looked nervous for some reason. "Naruto-sama, I believe you wish to talk to us," Zenobia said. Naruto turned around and saw her and Irina standing there. Irina with a cheerful smile while Zenobia had a straight face. "First, you guys are not in my peerage, so you have no need to call me Sama. Second, do not ever call me Sama. I do not deserve that title as I have not earned it. Ravel is the only one that calls me that, no matter how many times I tell her to do that. I don't need another person doing that." Ravel blushed at being thrown under the bus like that. Irina nodded while Zenobia had a straight face. "It is out of respect for my leader, Naruto-sama," Zenobia said in her emotionless tone. Naruto just sighed. "You're not going to give up, are you?" he asked her. She shook her head. "All right, call me whatever you like." Naruto threw his hands up in defeat. "Before we talk, let's clean up first so we have a place to sit." They all nodded before they went out to grab cleaning supplies. After 15 minutes of cleaning and a little use of magic, the pool house was all clean. "Now if you would take a seat." Naruto motioned them to the stools at the bar in the kitchen. They took their seats while Naruto stood on the opposite side along with Kuroka and Ravel. "Now, why do you two wish to join my family?" Naruto asked. Irina blushed while Zenobia had a straight face. "Why would we marry you? We wish to join your peerage unlike those two behind you," Zenobia asked. Kuroka giggled while Ravel blushed at the thought of being married to Naruto. Naruto just face-palmed. "That is not what I meant." Naruto groaned. I do not refer Kuroka and Revel as my servants in my peerage. They are a part of my family. I will never see or treat them as my servants. Kuroka and Revel smiled at his words. He really did treat them like family. So I will ask again. Why do you two wish to join my family? Zenobia spoke first. I have nothing left to fight for. I trained my entire life to be a warrior of God. I don't want to fight for someone who doesn't exist. I have already talked with my caretaker Griselda. She said that it is my decision and she will support me in any way. She reached behind her and pulled out a sword from who knows where. She has decided to let me keep Durandal if you decide to turn me into a devil. Naruto nodded. He then turned to Irina for her reason. Well, Zenobia is my best friend, so wherever she goes, I go. Irina said cheerfully. Naruto saw through it. Lying isn't the best way to convince. Irina looked shocked and was going to speak, but Naruto raised his hand for her to speak. I can see it in your eyes. The look of hurt and betrayal. You constantly asking yourself, what was it all for? I've been there, Irina. I know how you feel. I can see that Zenobia is your best friend, but that isn't why you are asking to become a devil. So what is it? Irina looked down at the countertop. I have nothing left. I was taught that God was everything and that everything was determined by Him. When we moved, I trained to be an exorcist. I was trained to fight against devils and fallen angels, to prevent their corruption of humans as a part of God's will. She looked up and had tears falling down her face. To find out that he was dead is upsetting. But I'm furious that the rest of the world has been lied to. I was a firm believer of God, as were many. I can deal with him being dead, but to lie to the world that God is watching over them is infuriating. I was taught that devils and fallen lie, cheat, and manipulate people, but I now see that heaven is no different. God truly is dead. Irina said as she cried into her hands. Zenobia placed a hand on her shoulder and offered her a small smile. I see. Naruto said. Irina finally got a hold of herself and looked back at Naruto. I understand how you feel, but God isn't dead. Everyone looked at him as if he grew a second head. It's people like you that keep God alive. Now God may be the enemy of devils, but I don't care. I also don't care for peace all that much either. As long as we don't instigate anything, then we can live freely. But back to what I was saying. Naruto said. He isn't dead as long as people believe in him and his ideals. Does he exist in this world anymore? No. But does his ideals and beliefs do? Yes. As long as people believe in something strong enough, then he still lives in their hearts. Just how he lived in yours. Naruto told them. Irina was touched at his explanation. She was angry at being lied to, that she looked past why they did it. While she still didn't like being lied to, she could cut them some slack. Will you turn us into devils now, Naruto-sama? Zenobia asked. It's not entirely up to me. While I don't trust you completely, having people who strongly followed the church asking to be turned into devils is something I've never heard before. Naruto said. But it isn't up to just me. They must also make a decision. He pointed at Kuroka and Revel. As I said, we are a family. No one person makes a life-changing decision like this without the say of others unless it is under extreme circumstances. They looked over to the other woman in the room. Naya's such a big decision to make. Kuroka said. Well, you two are certainly talented with swords. That will certainly be helpful for us. Also, you two are pretty on the eyes. They smiled at the praise. The smile quickly faded, however. I don't like that. You see, girls, Naruto Koi is all mine, and maybe Chiron's, since we need to repopulate our race after all. Kuroka went to grab Naruto, but his hand up to stop her. She stopped walking forward but let one of her tails sneak around his chest. He grabbed it a bit roughly and removed it from his chest. "Naya, you're so rough," Narukoi Kuroka sang. Naruto released her tail. "Stop messing around, Kuroka. I need you to make a decision." Kuroka stopped messing around at Naruto's tone. "Well, they certainly are powerful. I also don't sense any deceit in the words. So I don't see why they can't join our lovely family," Kuroka stated. Naruto nodded and then looked towards Revel for her answer. "Well, they are excellent swordsmen. And Zenobia keeping Durandal would be a great addition for us. They also seem very truthful in wanting to join us. I would say that they would make great additions to our family," Naruto's queen stated. Naruto turned back to the girls. "Well, welcome to the Uzumaki Lucifuge family," Naruto said. Naruto then extended his arms in a grand fashion. "And welcome to the manga club. Start of school." Naruto was walking down the halls with Revel by his side. He had just reincarnated Irina and Zenobia into knights and had them stay at their clubroom with Kuroka. The halls were empty as the first classes of the day have already started. "Naruto-sama, is this necessary?" Revel asked nervously. Naruto turned to her. "Of course, Soju-sama," Naruto responded. "You haven't interacted with normal people because of you staying in the underworld your whole life. I want you to see what it is like to be a normal girl. If you decide to continue with school is entirely up to you. I may not like it, but school is the only constant in my life that helps with all the crap that happens in my life." Revel nodded and continued walking. They reached the room they were looking for and Naruto knocked on the door. The door slid open to reveal a red-headed woman who looked to be in her mid-20s. When she saw Naruto and Revel, she nodded and went back in class, already being informed of a new student. From the hallway they could hear the teacher informing her class about a new student. Revel was beginning to get nervous again but relaxed when she felt a hand on her shoulder. "Relax. Everything is going to be fine," Naruto told her. "But what is they don't like me?" Revel said. "Then that is their problem. The only people that you should care about liking you is your family, and we all love you," Naruto said with one of his small rare smiles. Revel blushed at his words. "Plus, there is someone in this class that will look out for you. Just don't take her teasing to heart. She doesn't mean any harm," Naruto said. Before Revel could question who this person was, the teacher called her in. When she walked in, all eyes were glued to her. She heard multiple whispers throughout the classroom. From being called cute to beautiful. She heard someone saying she was going to be school's princess. "Why don't you introduce yourself?" the teacher asked. "My name is Revel Phoenix. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Please be kind to me," Revel said. "Thank you. Now, any questions for Miss Phoenix?" Multiple hands shot up. The teacher pointed a girl towards the front. "Where did you come from?" "I actually didn't live that far away from here. I just moved closer to the school," Revel half lied. She technically didn't live far as she could just teleport from the underworld. There were a multitude of questions from what she liked to what her hobbies were. One question made her blush uncontrollably. "Do you have a boyfriend?" came the question from a girl in the back. Revel blushed up a storm at being asked that. "Why, yes. And no, it's complicated," was Ravel's indecisive answer. She blushed as she remembered the contract her parents made with Surzex regarding a certain blonde. The class was in an uproar. The girls were gushing at Ravel's cuteness while the guys were complaining that another girl was taken. "That's enough, class," the teacher said. "Revel, have a seat in the back over there." Revel looked where she pointed and saw an empty seat. The only thing she could see next to it was a mop of white hair behind one of the students. She walked down the aisle and took her seat. "Now class, today we will be learning." Ravel started to take out her school supplies. She froze when she heard the person who had the white hair speak to her. "Yakitori." Ravel's eyebrow twitched as she now realized who Naruto was talking about. Manga club. Naruto sat on the couch in his club room. He was waiting for Ravel to get here as school had just ended. He looked around the room at the occupants in the room. Kuroka and Irina were playing pool. By the sounds of things, Kuroka was losing by her whining and pouting. He looked towards the kitchen and saw Zenobia sitting at the bar cleaning Durandal. The door opened, which got Naruto's attention, and walked Ravel, who looked extremely fatigued. She dragged her feet towards the couch where Naruto sat and fell face first, losing all the gracefulness that made her look like a princess. "How was your first day of school?" Naruto asked her. The rest of his family joined them on the couch. Kuroka sitting very close to Naruto, practically on his lap. Irina and Zenobia sat towards the end of the couch. MMPH. Ravel grunted with her face in a pillow still laying down. "I know it was boring, but you kinda get used to it. Okay, not really, but at least you got to socialize." Naruto tried to cheer her up. "Really? She went right for the grilled chicken comment when she saw you? Didn't think she would do that on your first day," Naruto said. The other three women were shocked that Naruto was understanding the noises that Ravel made. Naruto noticed their confusion and explained it to them. "I lived with Kaneko for the past couple of years. She hardly says complete sentences, so noises and sounds are kinda my specialty." Naruto explained as they just nodded at that. It seemed reasonable as they all knew how Kaneko talked. MMPH. Ravel said. "Don't worry. Tomorrow is Saturday and there isn't much to do, so you can relax. We won't be working on new contracts until next week." Naruto informed them. "We are actually going to clean the pool and relax or swim tomorrow. Whichever you prefer." Something that they were relieved, since Irina and Zenobia were just reincarnated today and Kuroka and Ravel were tired from the work they did in the underworld. The front door to the clubroom opened, alerting everyone. When they looked to see who it was, they saw Kaneko standing in the doorway. Kaneko herself was looking around at the occupants in the room. She saw Naruto on the couch with the rest of his peerage. She saw Ravel's head looking just above the back of the couch looking at her. She saw Kuroka sitting awfully close to Naruto. Then she saw the former exorcists on the other side of the couch. She mentally groaned at the addition of big-chested girls hanging around Naruto. "Yakitori. Stop calling me that." Ravel screamed at Kaneko. Kuroka, Irina, and even Zenobia giggled at their little banter. It all stopped as they heard someone chuckling. Even Kaneko and Ravel stopped their glaring at one another to look at the person chuckling. Naruto couldn't hold in his amusement as he started chuckling at their interactions. At his family's interactions. He actually felt happy and satisfied with the way things were going. While Kaneko isn't a part of his family with his evil pieces, she was just as important, if not more, than anyone else. So to see her get along with them so well was enlightening for Naruto. The girls were shocked and blushing at Naruto laughing. They were shocked as they never once heard Naruto laugh in the time spent with him. The last time Kaneko heard him laugh was before they came to the human world for the first time, when Naruto and Milikus pranked Surzex. They also had blushes as his laugh was pleasing to their ears. It made them a little uncomfortable, and not in a bad way. If Irina and Zenobia weren't so upset with heaven, they would have called Naruto's laugh angelic. Naruto finally stopped laughing, although he had an actual smile on his face, not one of the small ones that he uses rarely. This did nothing to help the already blushing girls as their blushes darkened. "All right then. I guess it's time to go home." Naruto said once he stopped laughing. They soon began to make their way towards his home. Naruto-sama. Naruto looked over at Zenobia. Where will Irina and I be staying? With me, of course. Naruto swore he heard two people growling behind him. Your family, so you are always welcome to stay with me. You two can stay with me however long you want to. Not enough room, Kaneko said. Naruto face-palmed at his stupidity. He only had 2 rooms in his house if you didn't count his storage room downstairs. Well, Kuroka stayed with you last night, so if you don't mind sharing again, Kaneko? Kaneko nodded. She didn't like it because it just meant those Cowtig girls were going to be staying close to Naruto. Great. And you 3, he pointed at Irina, Ravel, and Zenobia. You guys can stay in my bed. I'll sleep on the pull-out couch in the living room then. I can stay with you, Naruto-sama, stuttered Ravel. It's fine, Ravel. You can have my bed. It will fit all 3 of you fine, Naruto assured her. As your queen, I should be by your side at all times. It is a queen's duty to be by her king, Ravel argued. So you're okay sleeping with me then? Naruto said, missing the innuendo that he just said. The girls blushed heavily besides 2 glaring Nico sisters. As long as it is just sleeping, then it will be fine, Ravel said with a cherry-red face. Naruto just shrugged as they finally reached his home. Cozy was what the former exorcists said before Naruto ushered them inside. Next morning, after they had reached Naruto's home, the girls each took turns in the showers. After Naruto finished his, he started on breakfast. After dinner, they all went to where they were staying for the night. For girls staying upstairs and him and Ravel sleeping on the pull-out bed in the living room. This was where Naruto woke up. And Naruto-sama, wake up, Ravel whisper yelled. Naruto didn't want to get up and promptly pulled his body pillow tighter against him. In Naruto-sama, Ravel whispered louder. Naruto put his face in his pillow and nuzzled into it. He breathed in a sweet smell. It smelled like strawberries. He took in a big whiff of the smell of strawberries. He moved his hand up to get more comfortable and found a spot that seemed to have more cushion. He grabbed that spot and pulled his pillow closer. The moment he heard a moan, alarms went off in his head. He opened his eyes and was met with a vision of blonde hair. He quickly realized his predicament and jumped out of bed. I'm so sorry, Ravel. I didn't mean to do that. Naruto quickly apologized. It's fine. A queen should always please her king, Ravel said with a red face. No, they shouldn't. I'm sorry to say, but your brother is not a king you should look up to. He is someone who abuses the peerage system to make having a harem easier, Naruto explained. Ravel nodded at that. He was only interested in the peerage system to get beautiful women to sleep with him. She still loved him as he was her brother, though. I forgive you, Naruto-sama. No. It can't be that easy. Please let me make it up to you, Naruto insisted. Ravel thought about it for a second before she figured out what she wanted. Well, could you? School pool. Naruto and his peerage stood at the edge of the empty pool. Kaneko wasn't there due to Rias making them train more. He had opened the drain to the pool the day before as school was ending before Ravel got to the clubroom. The pool wasn't too bad. Some algae here and there. Leaves and some other trash littered the empty pool. Naruto was wearing athletic shorts and a tank top showing off his defined muscles. His black marks and yellow eyes still present. He still hasn't heard anything from Hao or Drake. The girls were wearing shorts similar to the ones that runners would wear along with white t-shirts. Naya, let's get started, Kuroka said, readying her magic. No magic, Naruto said. They all looked at him with confused looks. This is a team bonding exercise as much as a relaxing activity. We worked together to clean the pool. They nodded and got to work. Naruto went to scrub the algae off the walls while Ravel would hose off where he scrubbed to get anything he missed. Irina and Zenobia picked up the trash in and around the pool. Kuroka was cleaning the diving board and chairs. It took about an hour before everything was clean, but the time was well worth it. The pool looked as if it had just been installed the day before. They all stood by the edge admiring their work. "Well, Kuroka, if you would do the honors," Naruto said, breaking the silence. "With pleasure," Kuroka said. She gathered up magic and put her arms in front of her. A ceiling matrix appeared above the pool and gallons of water came spilling out. A couple of minutes later and the pool was filled with clear, sparkling water. "All right then. You guys can go change into something you like and are free to use the pool however you like. Yes, you have to wear at least a swimsuit, Kuroka." Naruto sighed at the last bit he said when Kuroka raised her hand. With that said, they went to the locker rooms and got changed. Naruto was the first back and wore dark blue swim trunks with an orange lining. He was moving some of the chairs together just in case the girls wanted to lay down and relax or tan. Naruto stopped what he was doing as he heard footsteps. He turned and saw a sight that would have hospitalized the perverted trio. Ravel was wearing the most modest swimsuit of the four. It was a pink two-piece swimsuit with white polka dots on it. It showed off her breasts well, but still kept her modest look. It also let him see her more curvaceous figure that her regular attire didn't. Irina was wearing a white two-piece swimsuit. It was a normal swimsuit except for the fact that her breasts made it seem as if it was about to rip. Zenobia was wearing something he would have never guessed. She was wearing a green two-piece with gold straps. Same as Kanon. Kuroka was wearing the most obscene swimsuit, however. She was wearing a gold two-piece. The top only had small triangles to cover Kuroka's areolas, leaving little to the imagination. Her bottom was also gold, but only covered her front just enough to show that she waxed. It was held by the thinnest strings around her waist. The back hardly covered her plump rear. "Naya, see something you like, Naruto-koi?" Kuroka said seductively. The others blushed as Naruto eyed them. "You girls look beautiful. Any guy would be lucky to have any of you," Naruto said honestly. Kuroka lost her playfulness at his words and blushed along with the others. I forgot something," Ravel said as she ran back to the locker rooms. "Okay then." "Well, enjoy the pool, girls," Naruto said. "Yahoo!" Irina exclaimed as she ran on the diving board and jumped in the pool. Kuroka and Zenobia went to the chairs that Naruto had moved closer to where they were at. Naruto was about to jump in until Kuroka called him over. "Would you mind rubbing some tanning lotion on my back, Naruto-koi?" Kuroka seductively said. Naruto rolled his eyes at her but complied nonetheless. Kuroka laid on her stomach and undid her top straps. "Make sure to rub it in really good." Naruto ignored her as he put some tanning lotion on his hands and kneeled behind her. "Naya!" Kuroka yelped as the cold lotion, along with Naruto's strong hands, made contact with her skin. Naruto began to rub the lotion along her back. He was actually enjoying the way her soft and supple skin felt against his hands. "And Naruto-sama, can we begin now?" Naruto turned to Ravel. When he turned, he saw she had arm floaties and an inflatable duck around her waist. He was a bit taken back at what he saw. What's with the floaties?" Naruto questioned. The others wanted to know also. Well, I didn't want to drown and I read that these help." "It's fine, but you don't need them. I have this." Naruto pulled out a small board that lifeguards carried. "This will help you until you get the hang of it." With that, Naruto got up and jumped into the pool, much to Kuroka's disappointment. Ravel took off her floaties and neared the edge of the pool. She couldn't jump into the water. even with Naruto there to catch her. Her being a phoenix and being part of a clan of fire was a big issue when it came to water. Sure, getting wet or drinking water wasn't an issue, but she has never been in a pool before. Hence why she asked Naruto to teach her how to swim in return for the interesting morning they had. Jump in, Revel. I'll catch you, Naruto told her. She hesitated for a moment before she jumped in. She started to panic until she felt Naruto's arms around her. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? She shook her head. Great. Now grab onto this. He moved to the board in front of her. She grabbed it and Naruto started to pull her. Kick your feet, Revel, Naruto said as they went back and forth in the pool. Irina joined them and ended up helping Naruto teach Revel. So, what do you think of Naruto? Kuroka asked the blue-haired girl next to her. He is a strong man. Definitely smart. Also, he is compassionate to those who he sees as family, Zenobia said. Kuroka agreed with her but turned sour when Zenobia continued. He will be an excellent father for my powerful children, Zenobia said. Is that why you joined his peerage? Kuroka asked dangerously. Isn't that why you joined his? Zenobia shot back. It's complicated, Kuroka said. He asked me to join in order to keep me close to Chiron, my sister. When he first asked, I thought he was just looking for powerful peerage members or starting a harem. But he did it for my sister. He had no evil intentions in mind in him taking me and cleared my crimes with the Satans. So, I fell for him after spending all this time with him, Kuroka explained. I see, Zenobia said. I haven't spent much time with him but can tell he is a loving individual. I can't say I love him now because I don't. But I can come to love him. Plus, him being as powerful as he is, he will bring me great children, Zenobia said. To answer your question, I did not join to have his children, although that would be great. I joined because he is a strong fighter and seems to be upfront and truthful about everything. We heard how Rias got Issei and Asia in her peerage. Irina and I would not like to be a part of that even if we are devils now. Kuroka agreed. She thought she just wanted to use Naruto and protect him. She wasn't jealous. Not at all. I also believe Irina may be falling for him. Kuroka turned towards where Zenobia was looking. She saw Irina and Revel laughing as Naruto was being drowned because they jumped on his back. She may not love him now, but when she saw how Issei was, she became depressed. She truly cared for him, but when she saw how lecherous he became, it broke her heart. She wouldn't talk when we alone and put up a fake smile when we around others, Zenobia explained. That smile she has right now is the first genuine smile I've seen since we first met Rias and everyone. Kuroka nodded at that. Naruto just had that effect on people. Kuroka then got up and grabbed Zenobia bridal style. What are you doing? This, Kuroka said as she tossed Zenobia in the pool, the splash alerting the three who were already in there. They all saw Kuroka laughing as Zenobia surfaced from the water. Irina and Revel joined Kuroka in her laughing as Zenobia gave in and started giggling. None ever saw Naruto leave the pool. Kuroka was so caught up in laughing that never noticed Naruto sneak up behind her. She finally noticed when Naruto broke out into a run and wrapped his arms around her as he jumped in the pool. Naya! It's so cold! Kuroka yelled. Naruto just laughed like he did yesterday with all the girls joining. Kuroka got over her shock and started splashing him as she laughed. Naruto splashed back as did the others. Naruto looked around and felt warm. This was his family. He had a family again. The only thing that would make this moment better was if his mother and Kaneko were here with them. The manga club never noticed someone watching them. That could have been us. said the person watching. The person had red hair and teal eyes. She had a figure to die for. She had a lone tear fall down her face. I really screwed up, didn't I, Naruto-kun? The girl then walked back to the ORC to see how her peerage was doing. The end. Chapter 5. Manga Club. Naruto leaned back in his chair as he finished the last of his paperwork. He never realized how much work there was needed for kings. He needed to organize contracts, see if the requests were plausible, set a reasonable price, and then give it to the best-suited member that could carry out the task. So far, they were able to carry out all the tasks they were given. Ravel was mostly called to help students with homework. And to her pleasure, helping people decorate and organize their homes and life. Kuroko was called upon by girls mostly to act as their Wanichan. These ranged from middle school girls to even high schoolers. These were mostly from the lonely or unpopular girls in school who needed someone to rely on. Kuroko enjoyed it as it helped her with her relationship with Kaneko. Zenobia was called upon the kendo clubs to help out their sword skills. Hell, he was even surprised that Kates and Murayama called her to help them improve. And Irina. Hers was probably the most ironic considering she was a devil. But considering her kind and caring nature, she would receive the most non-devil request. She was called upon the local, non-church-involved orphanages. The women who were in charge of the orphanages needed some extra help as they could only do so much. So, Irina helped play with the kids and take care of them while giving the matrons time to relax and recuperate from the taxing jobs they had. Irina, much to Naruto's approval, declined the money they offered, saying that it was just a pleasure to help out the kids who were there. Naruto didn't berate her like Irina thought he would. In fact, he gave her a true smile and explained that how he was once in an orphanage and that money was already low even if it was helped out from the church. There was only so much one could do to help out a building full of growing children. Naruto stretched in his chair trying to get out all the kinks and knots his body had. He had some respect for Rias and the fact that she had to do this every day. Rias. That was still an issue. He needed to have a talk with her. While he didn't hate her, he still couldn't just let those feelings of betrayal and neglect go. Before he could dwell any further, the door leading to the pool opened and blew in a gust of wind almost as if by magic. It blew one paper from a stack of new contracts over and landed directly on his desk perfectly for him to read. He looked at the contract and shook his head. How subtle. Naruto muttered before he teleported. Stream in Kuo. A man was currently fishing in the stream that ran on the outskirts of Kuo. He was a fairly young-looking man. He had black hair with the front bangs being blonde. He had black goatee and violet-colored eyes. He smiled as he sensed magic behind him. Ah, Naruto-kun. You're here. You have no idea how worried I was for you. He feigned ignorance. You should have told me you went off to make your own group. What do you want, Azazel? Naruto cut to the chase. The fact that you're not hiding your magic this time shows you want to be serious. Ah, the clever one I see. Azazel praised. He turned around to look at Naruto. Can't I just want to see my fish? What the hell happened to you? Azazel yelled as he took notice of Naruto's black eyes and the markings on his body. Wow. Naruto's sweat dropped. You look great too, old man. Azazel ignored him. He was too intrigued by Naruto's appearance. When did this happen? How did this happen? He questioned as he seemed to teleport around Naruto, looking at the marks littered across his body. That piece of shit Kokobeel happened. Why you let him live as long as he did is beyond me. Naruto answered. Well, that is no way of achieving peace, now is it? Azazel said. Naruto just crossed his arms. I don't care for it. It will never happen. People think that just understanding one another is enough, but it's not. If you don't have someone strong enough to hold the peace, then war will always break out again. Naruto said, I just want to be left alone with my family. Naruto whispered the last part. Azazel heard him, however. Then why not fight for peace? You want to be alone with your family, but right now, that is impossible. So, fight so you can. Azazel smiled at him. I'll think about it. That is all I asked for. Azazel responded. Now, care telling me what happened to your body? Naruto sighed before he told him. About the balance breaker that Hao set up for him but wasn't ready for it. How he needed it against Kokobile and Drake combined his balance breaker with Hao's. To where the guy in the white dragon armor showed up. Then to how Drake and Hao have been, what he believes, resting this entire time. Wow. Sounds like you've had a rough time. Naruto nodded. So, about your gear. Naruto sighed and ran his hand through his hair. I'm only telling you this because you're the only that can help me since you study the damn things. Before Trihex's end. There is always a warrior born with great power and potential every generation. No matter be they angel, devil, fallen, human, or any race. A warrior that is unmatched by their peers is always born. But they must strive to be better than their peers, as they are only born with the potential to be as powerful as everyone else. And this generation had their warrior. It was a young teen by the name of Hao. At the age of 16, he stood at an impressive height of 6 feet 4 inches, with room to still grow. He had the darkest, black hair. His yellow eyes that you could see in total darkness. He had an impressive build for his age. The most interesting thing about this child was he had control over darkness. Not just shadows, but darkness. He could make energy using his ability to control darkness. Now Hao was a fond and loving child. He would play with children his age and go to school like normal children. That all changed one fateful night. He was on his way home from school. It was a normal day. He was enjoying his walk until he saw his home. He saw that the door was open. While that may not be cause for alarm, the fact that it was torn off its hinges is what made Hao sprint home. When he burst through his front door, he collapsed to his knees. There, laying in a pool of their own blood, was his parents. Multiple stab wounds covered their body. Marks that looked as if someone burned them. The worst part was their heads were severed from their bodies and placed on each other's bodies. As Hao screamed for his parents, he never noticed his house being enveloped in darkness before it disappeared. That was the end of the lovable child known as Hao. From the age of 8, he trained himself into the ground each and every day, getting stronger to end his parents' killers. He let his darkness consume him and he couldn't feel better. The culprits of his parents' death were exorcists. He had heard about a pair of rogue exorcists roaming around offering protection from devils and fallen angels only to kill them if they refused and take their money anyways. Hao couldn't let this go. Scum like them should never walk the earth, and he'll be the one to make sure it happens. When Hao found them, he lost it. He brutally attacked them with his bare hands. Even with their weapons, they stood no chance. He pummeled their faces until there was nothing but mush left. And it felt good. He had no idea what town he was near or the area, as it was all unfamiliar. He walked through the forest for some time before he came across a lake. He went to it and washed his bloodied face and hands. He fell on his back and just stared at the sky. "What is wrong, my child?" came a feminine voice. Hao sat straight up and looked around. What he saw was a beautiful woman standing on the lake in front of him. "You are very different than those who have came here," she said. "I have many names, but the most common is Lady of the Lake." Hao looked at her in amazement. "I can see that you will be involved with the protection of our world." "Me?" I'm going to save it. She shook her head. No. But you will be a deciding factor to the one who will. But it will be your decision whether you help them or not. Hal couldn't say another word. He was supposed to help someone save the world? Suppose being the keyword. I'll help them. I may have control over darkness, but that doesn't mean my heart is dark. Hal said, I will help protect our world. That is great to hear, young one. She said, I have a gift for you then. This will help you in your mission. From the lake rose a magnificent sword. She grabbed it and laid it across the palm of her hands. Many years ago, I gave a young man another sword. You may know him as Arthur. His jaw dropped. There was only one man that was named Arthur and had what was said to be a magical sword. This sword is its counter. For there cannot be light without dark and dark without light. Those were the last things Hal remembered. Now he was laying in a giant crater, bloodied and bruised, with a giant dragon's tooth next to him. Throughout all of this, Hal held a smile. He had challenged Trihexa by himself and was able to knock out one of its teeth. He had heard from God that the beast was coming. God. That senile old fool. But he was Hal's best friend. They had met when Hal was hunting other rogue exorcists. God confronted him and wanted to know why he was killing his children. They argued back and forth before coming to an understanding. Sure, God may have banished Lucifer from heaven and let angels fall, but that was their decision. They knew what they were born/getting into. Sure, some may have been okay with it, but others held a grudge. Don't get Hal wrong. God was a dick at times. But he never hated his children. That came from the churches. They openly hated his fallen children, and that translated to his children hating him. But now he was dying. Dying because he believed he could take down Trihexa by himself. Why did you do this? Hal looked up and saw the man who he was just thinking about. You know, just wanted first crack at him. Hal smiled. Nothing could stop his humor. He had long given up his hate since his parents died. It was all due to accepting his own inner darkness. You're an idiot, Hal. What? Hal said in mock hurt. God calling me an idiot. I guess I must be smited. He coughed up blood. Hal stopped joking. We both know this is the end. God said, looking at his friend. Not many knew of Hal, and none knew the power and sword he wielded. All they knew was he could challenge God toe to toe in battle. But given he was a human, they believed God went easy on him, so they didn't look into it much. God, Hal said, losing his playfulness. That special project you're working on. Is it ready? God was surprised, but nodded. If Hal wished it, God would gladly grant his friend's dying wish. I want you to make me one. It's personal. I now know what the Lady of the Lake meant. But it will not be in my lifetime. God nodded. He knew of Hal's encounter with her. But I want to choose my own wielder. I don't want you or your pigeons above decided who wields me. God couldn't stop the sweat drop as he called his angels pigeons. They were more than simple rats with wings. God commenced with his ritual before he told Hal one last thing. Make your mission, both of ours. For the sake of the world and universe. Just as he finished the ritual and sent the gear away, his reinforcements showed up. Father, what is wrong? God stood up and wiped his tears away. Nothing. But we have to stop Trihexa. The only way is to seal him. He is too powerful to defeat. God never told anyone, not even Michael, about Hal and his gear. Man. No wonder why Father kept that a secret. A gear that is stronger than the true Longinus is scary. Azazel said with amazement. If word got out about that gear back during the war, I don't think it would have ever ended. Yeah, but it would have been wasted as I am its first wielder. Azazel went wide-eyed. What? Yeah. How said that he never found a strong enough warrior to wield him. He said that there were strong warriors born, but none that had potential like he did. So that means you are Hao's and father's will. You are the one the Lady of the Lake mentioned. Naruto paused and looked at his hand. He opened and closed it. He said when I first met him, you are strong. I will make sure of it as you have the potential to reach heights that not even I was able to dream about. That is what he told me. I am not one for prophecies as I believe in choosing your own path. He paused. But if my path leads me to save everyone, then so be it. Azazel was floored. This Haugai was on the same level as God when he was still alive. And now this boy, no young man, Naruto, was destined to be even stronger than them. He quickly got up off the ground and dusted himself off. By the way, who was that asshole who came for Kokobile? The guy in white? Naruto asked. That is Valley Lucifer. Azazel was waiting for a scream or yell of shock, but it never came. He is the wielder of divine dividing. Albion, the one sealed in his gear, is one of the two heavenly dragons. He is also your rival since you now hold Drake. Troublesome. Naruto murmured. Please tell me he isn't a battle come on. Naruto yelled as Azazel nodded that he was indeed a battle freak. Why do I have to keep fighting people who have a hard-on for fighting? Naruto whined. Ha 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 ha. It's not funny, you dusty old crow. I'm sick of these fighting freaks. If possible, Azazel laughed harder. I'm going home. Naruto said as he teleported home. Azazel paid him no mind as he rolled on the ground at the blonde's misfortune. Naruto's home. When Naruto teleported home, he was expecting to come home and relax. Take a nice peaceful shower, enjoy time with Kaneko and his peerage. He wasn't expecting this. Hey there, son. Like what we did with the place? Naruto's eyebrow twitched at his father as he stared at his home. Or what used to be his home. What was once a simple 2-story home was now a massive 2-story home. From just the outside he could see the second floor had at least 5 or 6 rooms. I wanted to do more, but your mother talked me into doing this. What do you think? Naruto could only stare at his father. His mother nowhere to be found. I don't even care anymore. Naruto said before he walked in his home and shut the door, smashing Suzuki's nose. He saw the girls walking around inspecting the place. It was pretty spacious. The living room looked more like a theater room with a gigantic TV and couch across from it. The kitchen looked like it belonged in a restaurant. The granite countertops, the large fridge, and even a brick oven. He saw a hall that led to what looked like more bedrooms and a bathroom. He then saw Grafia and Revel coming downstairs talking to one another. Thank you so much, Grafia-sama. Revel bowed to the silver-haired maid. My pleasure, Revel-sama. Kaa-chan? Naruto asked. All the occupants of the house turned towards him and then made their way to him. Welcome to your new home, Naruto-kun. Grafia greeted her son. I tried to tell Lucifer-sama that you didn't need a home this big, but you know him. Yeah. The old man is outside tending to his nose. As Naruto said that, said man teleported in the room. Naruto-kun. He whined. That really hurt. He fake cried as he rubbed his nose. His fake crying turned real when Grafia pulled his ear. Lucifer-sama, please be professional and up-and-coming devils. You are an image that many strive for. Ow, ow, ow. Grafia-chan. Grafia released his cheek and he immediately rubbed it. Kaa-chan, what are you guys doing here, not that I mind? Naruto asked. Suzuki is the one who answered. Well, I felt that with you growing your family, that you may need a bigger home to accommodate you all. Surzek said. That, and you put itching powder in all my underwear. He murmured at the end, but they all heard it. That's great, I guess. I mean, at least it isn't some giant mansion that took up the whole block. That would seem unnecessary, Naruto said aloud. With that, Grafia and Surzek bid them farewell and left to the underworld. Everyone went to their own rooms to shower and change for dinner and, to Ravel's suggestion, have a movie night. When Naruto came down, he was treated to a sight that would break any man. Irina sat on the end of the couch facing the TV with moderately sized shorts and one of his blue t-shirts, her sizable bust making it hug her body. Next was Zenobia, who just wore one of his pullovers that was also strained and exposed her bottom to show she was only wearing panties. Leaving a gap in between them, Ravel sat with one of his black and orange hoodies that looked like a dress. Seated on the top of the couch was Kuroka. She wore one of his orange tank tops that made her breasts visible from the sides and what was clearly a thong underneath. But what made him gulp and sweat was Kaneko. She was standing next to the couch holding a bucket of popcorn. She wore one of his white t-shirts that fit just like Ravel, but just short enough to show she was wearing short shorts that showed off her petite bottom. Why are you all wearing my clothes? They all blushed besides the Nico sisters. Kaneko glared at the others while Kuroka smiled. Well, I saw my dear Amuto wearing your shirt and thought, what better way to bond than wear something similar to our king? Kuroka said. Naruto looked at them and they all nodded. He sighed and rubbed his face. Why did it seem he got stuck with the crazy family? But then he smiled behind his hands. He was glad they were crazy. That made things interesting and amusing. He made his way to sit at the opposite end of the couch from Irina before Zenobia grabbed his arm. Naruto-sama, it would be best if you sat in the middle. He saw the look on her face and knew she wouldn't budge. As soon as he sat down, Zenobia pressed herself into his left side and Ravel scooted closer to where she was leaning on his right side. He felt something on his head and instantly knew who it was when he saw twin tails swaying in front of his eyes. He looked up and saw Kuroka in her cat form resting on his head. He felt a weight against his legs. He looked down and saw Irina in between them while sitting on the floor facing the TV. Kaneko went to the TV and put in the movie they were going to watch. So what movie are we watching, Kaneko-chan? Naruto asked. She responded by climbing onto his lap and placing her rear on his crotch. Spirited Away. And so the movie played. Naruto enjoyed most of the movie. He had a hard time concentrating since Kaneko's movements caused her to grind against his growing erection. Zenobia and Ravel falling asleep and pressing their bust into his sides did nothing to help. Irina had left halfway through the movie exclaiming she was tired from contracts and needed to rest. Towards the end of the movie, Kaneko noticed Naruto going stiff. Is that? She moved her rear back and forth and little. Naruto groaned softly at her movements. Kaneko's cheeks flushed and felt her heart warm up a little. I'm making him feel that way. It's nice. Kaneko leaned back so her back was against his chest. Kaneko-chan, what are you mm? Naruto groaned as he felt her grind her rear against his erection. She never looked back at him as she wrapped her hands around his neck and continued her grinding. She stopped as she saw Ravel and Zenobia waking up. They sat up and rubbed their eyes. I'm going to bed, Naruto-sama. Good night. Ravel said, half asleep. Zenobia followed her upstairs to her own room. Naruto and Kaneko sat there with faces red as cherries at the fact of almost being caught. That fear turned into a reality as they heard voice speak up from behind them. Naya, that was so hot, who knew you had it in you, Chiron-chan? Naruto was sweating bullets as Kaneko froze. Now, no need to worry, I will let you two indulge yourselves. I'm fine with Chiron claiming you first, Narukoi. She leaned forward and licked Naruto's ear. But, if Chiron gets pregnant and you don't take responsibility, her words became cold. I will make sure little Naruto never farms ever again. With that, Kuroka left to her room. Kaneko? Naruto got no response. Are you ALRMMPH? Naruto was cut off as Kaneko pressed her lips against Naruto's. Naruto was stunned for a few seconds before he kissed back. The kiss was filled with love and want. The love they had for one another. And the want of more. As they separated, a string of saliva connected the two. Kaneko? Naruto asked. She nodded. Naruto proceeded to carry her bridal style upstairs to his room. Once there, he laid Kaneko on his bed, which was way larger than expected. He went back to his door and locked it. Citrus. When he turned around, he saw Kaneko's shorts and shirt on the ground. He looked up and saw Kaneko covering herself with the blankets. He walked over to her and looked at her in the eye. If you want to stop, we can. She shook her head. I want this, Naruto-kun. I love you and want to show you how much I love you. Naruto leaned down and kissed her. When they pulled apart, Naruto said something that made her heart flutter. I love you too, Chiron. I always have. I know you have always been by my side. I don't deserve someone like you. Naruto said. She cupped his face with both her hands. Baka. Kaneko told him. He smiled as he hugged her. The hug lasted a few moments before they released and entered another kiss. Naruto started to pull the blanket off as they kissed. When they separated, he stared at her perky B-cup breast and slender body. Beautiful. He muttered. She quickly covered her breasts. I know I'm not big like the other girls, so I hope you still enjoy them. She looked away as tears formed in her eyes. Naruto grabbed her chin and turned her to look at him. I love you for you, Chiron. I love you. Not your body. As long as it is you, I will always love you. Kaneko smiled at him as he moved her arms. Aya. She gasped as Naruto took her left breast in his mouth. Naruto sucked on it as if he was a newborn. He watched his sucking made Kaneko pant and squirm underneath him. Kaneko pushed him off of her. As he was about to question her, she started to pull off his shirt. He helped out as she then started to pull off his shorts. In no time at all, he was left in his underwear just like him. Naruto leaned down and attacked her neck. She mewed in pleasure as she wrapped her arms and legs around him. Naruto started to grind his erection against her wet entrance through their underwear. Kaneko was at her breaking point. The grinding of their sex and Naruto's assault on her neck was too much. "Ah!" She screamed as she tightened her hold on Naruto and came. She drenched their underwear in her juices. Kaneko never took notice that her tail and ears popped out, or that she started to absorb senjutsu. They laid there panting for a few moments until she spoke. Naruto-kun, please. She pleaded. He nodded his head. It didn't take a genius to figure out what she was saying. He slowly slid her panties off, revealing her shaven womanhood and how it glistened from her juices. Naruto went to remove his and was stopped by Kaneko. He stared at her and nodded. Kaneko proceeded to pull his boxers and couldn't stop her jaw from dropping. That was supposed to fit in her? Naruto laid her down and positioned his erection at her entrance. He rubbed it against her slit, eliciting moans from the Nico below him. He then started to slowly enter her. As he got his head in, she stopped him again. Please. Do it fast like a band-aid. He nodded and took a deep breath. He knew she would be in pain from the fast penetration she was asking for. So, he pulled out slightly and then thrusted his entire length inside of her. Yeah. She yelled as she came hard around his member. Naruto was clenching his teeth at how tight she was and how much more tighter she got when she came. Even if he wanted to pull out, he doubted her walls would let him. He tried collecting himself but failed when he felt Kaneko grinding against him. What are you doing? He stuttered. I came twice already. I want you to feel good too. Naruto only moaned in pleasure as she continued her grinding. Don't hold back, Naruto. I want us to feel pleasure and not worry about our first time. Naruto growled at her words and pinned her arms above her head. He then started to thrust harder into her cavern. The only sounds were moans and the smacking of flesh. After a few minutes, they felt their end coming. Naruto tried pulling out, but Kaneko used her rook strength to keep him in her. Chiron, I am gonna come. Then do it, Naruto-kun. But we don't have protection. He pleaded, trying to postpone blowing his load. I don't care. If I get pregnant, then I'll be happy to be the mother of your children. I would love to carry our children that we created. Those words pushed him over the edge as he bottomed out in her, his head touching the entrance of her womb, filling it with his seed. She came the moment the first spurt entered her and her eyes rolled to the back of her head. Naruto rolled them over so she was on top of him now. Before they succumbed to sleep, Naruto noticed that she grew a couple inches and her bust grew from a B cup to a moderate-sized C cup. Senjutsu was the last thing Naruto muttered before he fell asleep. Citrus over. Manga club. Naruto sat at his desk with a smile on his face. Ever since Naruto and Kaneko shared that intimate night the day before, he couldn't stop the smile on his face. Something that his peerage noticed. They knew what had happened this morning from the smile on his face and the smell from their room. It was slightly embarrassing for the two lovers, but they didn't care much. They had finally given into their love and passion. No more tension between the two. They then noticed Kaneko's change in appearance and then began the questions. She explained the best she could, but Kuroka explained everything that happened. She was so focused on the one she loved that she stopped forcing herself to reject Senjutsu. She absorbed more than she should have and it aged her. Kuroka explained that as a Nekashu, Senjutsu is a part of them. They needed to live. So Kaneko, rejecting it, forced her body to mature at a much slower rate. This then led to Kaneko asking Kuroka to train her how to use Senjutsu not for her body, but to become stronger. This led to them agreeing to start training over the weekend. This led to this moment. School had just ended. Naruto sat at his desk as his peerage just relaxed in the room. He looked to his lap and smiled at his girlfriend. Kaneko sat on his lap at his desk munching away at some sweets. She held a smile on her face just like her boyfriend. Their small peace was interrupted as two people bust through the door. Naruto. Tell Sona that I should be the one that goes to the familiar forest on next week's full moon. Shouted the Crimson Devil as her queen followed her. Naruto-san, please tell Rias that it should be I that goes and acquire my peerage their familiars. Came the voice of the Citri heir as her respective queen came right behind her. Naruto watched as they both took the empty seats across from his desk. His peerage stayed where they were and just watched the two heirs in curious fashion. Naruto. They both said. He looked at Kaneko and she nodded. She got off his lap, but not before giving him a deep kiss in front of the two heirs. Sona had a blush cross her face at the intimate affection the two had. Rias, however, looked sad at that. It hurt her heart that she screwed up. And made her slightly jealous that it wasn't her kissing Naruto. Akino and Tsubaki mirrored their kings at the display. Ahem. Naruto cleared his throat with a bit of pink dusting his features. Well, I can't decide that. Naruto said. Why not? Rias asked. I must inquire why not also, Naruto-san. Sona replied while adjusting her glasses. You see, I was planning on doing the same. Rias and Sona narrowed their eyes. So I see. Well, there's only one way to settle this then, Sona said. Rias nodded her head. I agree. What is it? Naruto asked, a bit wary of the two women. A school competition, the two devil women yelled. Competition? Naruto was confused. What exactly were they talking about? A school competition, Rias corrected. Precisely, Sona said. We will hold a three-way challenge between the three of us, all involving school-related sports or events. Be they sports or other activities such as chess. Naruto nodded his head. This sounded reasonable and fair. Hold on, he said. What about magic? It would seem a bit unfair if we use magic. Sona shared a look with Rias. We agree. No magic. They then talked a bit more about the details and rules. Sona and Tsubaki then left. That left Rias and Akino with Naruto and his peerage plus Kaneko. I guess we should get going, Akino said. Rias went to stand, but Naruto interrupted her. Actually, I feel it's time we talk. Rias and Akino instantly took a seat. This could be their chance. Their chance to have Naruto back. I want to talk about the bad blood we have, Naruto said. I have came to realization that I overreacted to some extent. Me getting angry at you for flirting with Issei was out of line. We weren't flirting, Naruto-kun, Rias pleaded. Naruto half glared. So you going to his house in the middle of the night exclaiming, "Take my virginity," isn't flirting? Rias shut her mouth at that. What could she say? Naruto sighed. But that is not why I was upset with you two. I was upset that you two ignored Kaneko and I in turn for Issei and later Asia. I understand that they were new and needed help, but we had no interaction between you and Kiba. You left us out to dry. Naruto paused for a second. But I am at fault too. I should have told you how I felt. I had no right to be angry since we were never dating and you were free to go after whoever you wanted. Also, I was a bit of an asshole when interacting with Issei. So, I apologize for that. Rias and Akino were stunned. They didn't think he would apologize. Hell, almost every story like this never had the main character see what he did wrong. And we are sorry for our actions, the girls said as they bowed. So, are we friends again? Rias asked a bit hopefully. No. They hung their heads. I want us to have a clean slate. A fresh start. I want us to build a friendship again. I can't say that I love you like I did, but I may in the future, Naruto said as he stood up. He stuck his hand out. Rias stood up and grasped it. That sounds great. But know this, Naruto, Rias said. We will get you to fall in love with us again. With that, the two buxom women left. Naruto's home. Naruto plopped down on the couch and released a breath that he didn't know he was holding. It was a stressful day the moment Sona and Rias entered his club. He may not have shown it, but for some reason his mind was telling him not to give Rias and Akino another chance. Are you all right, Naruto-kun? Kaneko asked as she sat on his lap once again. He looked at her and the others in the room. They all had a concerned look. No doubt worrying about how he was dealing with Rias and Akino. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little tear. Naruto instantly blacked out. Naruto. They all yelled as he passed out on the couch. Mindscape. Naruto sat up gasping for air. It felt as if someone punched his stomach. He looked around and saw nothing but total darkness. I'm in my mind? Naruto said aloud. Are Hao and Drake awake? Naruto walked what felt like hours but could have been minutes. With no landmarks or signs, it was hard to tell how far and long you walked. He went to a light jog as he saw something that looked like a cage. As he neared it, the cage grew larger. As he stood in front of it, it was as tall as a skyscraper. He peered through the bars and saw two bodies. One of a dragon and another of a very tall human. How? Drake? Naruto called out to them. I wouldn't bother. Naruto spun around at a new but familiar voice. What he saw shocked him. It was him. But it wasn't. The person had the same hairstyle and color, clothes, and the same yellow eyes that he has been stuck with since Kokobile. But the difference was that his skin was covered completely by the lines that littered Naruto's body. They are asleep, so to speak. The person said. Who are you? Naruto asked, getting ready to fight. Ha ha. You don't even recognize yourself? He laughed at Naruto's confused look. I'm you. Well, you dark side, as some may put it. I'm all those dark, negative feelings, emotions, and thoughts that you have. I am Dark Naruto, as you can see. Dark me? What the hell do you want? What I want? That's easy. I want blood. But you won't give it. You're too forgiving. That boy Issei, you should have ended his miserable life when you found Rias with him. Ah, Rias and Akino. You should have murdered those whores for playing with your emotions like that. Why? Nothing good will come of that. That doesn't matter. I want blood. And you won't give it. So I have to take your body. Naruto braced himself. But not yet. It's too soon for that. Get out of here and get stronger. You're gonna have to be. Naruto didn't get a chance to respond as he felt himself waking up. Naruto shot straight up from the couch. Naruto-sama, are you okay? Naruto looked at Revel. He then saw the worried looks his family had. I'm fine, for now. Naruto answered. Good, you're finally awake, said a new face. Naruto turned to the unfamiliar voice. What he saw was confusing. He saw a little girl. She had black hair that went down to her hair. She had gray eyes with ears that were pointed. Her attire was one of a gothic Lolita. Who are you? Naruto questioned. Me? I have many names. The most common, though, is Office. Naruto quickly stepped in front of his peerage and girlfriend. What do you want? A dragon like yourself would gain nothing from killing us. Naruto said. Kill you? No. But you, she pointed at Naruto. Took her, she pointed at Kuroka. Away from me. I was planning on recruiting her, but you got to her first. So are you here to take her? Naruto said defensively. No way in hell is he going to let someone take his family. No. But there is something else. The dragon said. What is it? Office looked him straight in the eye. You work for me now. Chapter 5 finished. Chapter 6. You work for me now. Silence. Not a single person moved when she spoke. If one could describe it, it would be classified as one thing. A loud silence. My family and I will not work for — everyone collapsed as Office released some of her power. Naruto struggled to just lift his head off the floor, but that was all he could do. The black markings on his body flaring up for a moment. What do you want? Naruto gritted out. The power she was releasing felt as if she dropped a house on them. I told you. She walked over to him and crouched down to look in his eyes. You are gonna work for me. When I need you, you will help me. She stood up and walked around the others in the house. Or else I will kill your family before your very eyes. And I promise I would — She stopped as a magic seal appeared by her ear. Naruto could make out someone speaking from the seal. After a few minutes, the seal disappeared. Seems my other employees have ran into some unexpected problems. I will be back. She walked in front of Naruto again. But remember, you work for my cause now. And with no flash or seal, she was just gone. And so was the oppressive force that held them to the ground. They got off the ground and rubbed their arms and legs. Naruto-sama, what are we going to do? Ravel asked with a worried expression. He looked and saw the rest of his family and girlfriend Kaneko had the same look she had. We train, Naruto said as he faced them. We train as much as we can. Next time she comes, I'll find out what she wants and try to work something out. If not, we fight. She is one of the strongest beings in existence, but I won't work for her, Naruto said with conviction. They all shared the same look on their face as he did. I won't back down from her. Whatever she needs us for must be stronger than she is. With that, they all left to their rooms for the needed rest for the upcoming tournament they had at school. After applying a magic transformation spell to hide his black markings and gold eyes, Naruto walked to school holding hands with Kaneko, his peerage walking next to them. Today was finally Friday, the day of the tournament, to see who would get to go get a familiar. Naruto heard someone call him when he finally stepped into the school grounds. He turned to see who it was. There stood Rias and Sona with their queens Akino and Tsubaki. Sona stepped forward. We have already came up with the tournament bracket. We will compete after school. He nodded. First will be Sona and I on a 2-on-2 tennis match. Rias spoke up. From there, the winner will move on and face you to a game of your choice while the loser moves on to the loser's bracket. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. He didn't mind since he got to choose whatever challenge he wanted. And whoever loses against you will then face the loser of the first game. The winner of the loser's bracket will face off against you in the championship game. Naruto nodded. Seemed pretty straightforward and normal. So what are the rules? Are we allowed to use magic or not? Naruto questioned. Rias and Sona looked at one another. We have agreed on no magic for this tournament, Sona said. Great. I'll see you guys later then. Naruto turned and gave Kaneko a kiss while his peerage got hugs from him. They all separated to their classes and waited for school to end. After school. Wow, Naruto said, slightly exasperated. His family and Kaneko shared his expression. So much for no magic. Naruto couldn't believe his eyes. He never saw someone make concrete catch fire, but somehow Rias and Sona did. Their tennis match started fair and normal until no one could score a point. So in unison, they used magic at the same time. You couldn't even tell it was a tennis court anymore. The paint was gone, the fence surrounding the court was in shambles, and the net was burnt to a crisp. Do you have any idea what the score was? Rias asked her fellow king. Not at all, Sona responded. Perhaps Naruto would know. With that, they made their way to where Naruto was seated. Naruto watched them approach him where he was seated in the bleachers. So, what happened to no magic? They both had the decency to look embarrassed as Naruto pointed to destroyed tennis court. Anyways, Sona spoke, trying to prevent any further embarrassment. We kinda lost track of score. Naruto's deadpan look didn't help with her embarrassment. You guys couldn't keep track? Naruto asked in disbelief. For the two smartest girls in school, they couldn't keep track of some of the simplest things. We kinda got distracted. Rias chimed in. Naruto sighed. Sona won. The last serve Rias had was a fault, so the winning point went to Sona. Rias looked depressed while Sona smirked. Now, I believe me and Sona are next. Naruto stated. After you clean yourself up, I assume. Sona nodded as some of her clothes were burned and she had water coming off her body. Magic tennis was intense. Student council room. Naruto, Rias, and Sona were all seated in the student council room with their respective peerages seated behind them. After Rias and Sona freshened up, they proceeded here. So Naruto, what game do you wish for us to partake in? Sona said at her desk. Naruto thought a lot about this. While he could challenge her to a more physical sport, that would be unfair given his athletic abilities he had throughout his life. He wanted to be fair and even test his own intelligence. I challenge you to a chess match. The room went silence. Is he crazy? Were the collective thoughts of the occupants in the room besides his peerage. It was known to them all that Sona had never lost a chess match since she was 10. That was how she got out of her arranged marriage. Are you sure? Sona asked, a bit stunned. He would challenge her to a chess match. Yeah. He shrugged. This is a tournament of such, and I don't want to be unfair. I could have challenged you to an athletic event, but that would have been unfair. Why you? Saji spoke before Sona silenced him. What do you mean? Well, Naruto started. You just played tennis against Rias. While you may feel fine and all, you muscles are probably exhausted right now even with you using magic. Plus, given the fact I was on a couple of sports teams for the school not too long ago, I think it would be unfair. He reasoned. And how is playing me in chess any more fair for you? You know I have not lost in chess for quite some time, so this must be unfair to you. Sona said. That may be true, but I have never played chess before. Everyone was shocked. They would have thought he played once before. I do know how to play if that's what you are wondering. Grifiakachin taught me a while back. I just never found any interest in playing. Very well then. We will partake in a game of chess with Rias as our witness. The game was on. Naruto went first and moved one of his pawns. Sona moved one as well. So, Naruto, tell me something. He moved another pawn. And what would you like to know? She moved a knight. Rias has informed me that you visited the underworld not too long ago. He moved another pawn as he looked at Rias. Rias gave a nervous smile. Is that so? Naruto said. Well, it wasn't a secret anyways, as I assume Serafal has told you about it as well. Sona nodded as she moved a bishop. Well, it was actually regarding Kuroka and Revel here. He said as he motioned towards the two of them. How so? Sona questioned. Well, it was to test Kuroka's loyalty by doing a few missions from the mouths themselves. Naruto said. Sona raised an eyebrow at that. And how does Revel fall into that? All eyes turned to the young phoenix as she blushed under their gazes. It was mostly because... Flashback, it's finally here. She's here because her parents want you to add her to her family. Surzek said. Naruto stopped in his tracks as they were in the living room of the Grimmery estate. Grafia continued to glare at her husband. And why is she gonna be in my peerage? Naruto asked with a glare sent to his adopted father. Surzek chuckled a bit. Well, we can't keep it a secret when a devil becomes a high-class devil with a set of evil pieces. Surzek said. And when Tusama and Kasama heard that the person was the one to defeat my brother, they thought this would be idea. Revel chimed in with a blush present on her cheeks. There is more to this than it seems, right? Naruto asked. Revel's head literally bursted into flames, causing Kuroka and Millicast to laugh at the unfortunate girl. Grafia sighed as her husband seemed to be straying away from the topic. Lord and Lady Phoenix heard about you taking up the last name Lucifuge. So they pressed Lucifer Baka into a corner. Grafia said. They wanted an arranged marriage between the two of you or for you to induct her into your peerage. Naruto stayed silent throughout the whole explanation. He finally turned to Ravel as her head extinguished. And how do you feel about this, Ravel? Well, it wouldn't be too bad. I always respected you for your respect and protectiveness towards your fellow peerage members. Also, you defeating my brother means that you are very strong, so being in your peerage wouldn't be bad. Ravel said. Graphia narrowed her eyes at the young phoenix. She needed to know that she wasn't just going to use Naruto for his power or name. But is that what you want? Naruto asked with a calculating gaze. Ravel bowed at him. Yes, it is, Naruto-sama. It was my idea to join your peerage in the first place. I didn't want to be in my brother's anymore, as all he cares for is gathering women to please him. I wanted to be in your peerage as I saw the compassionate way you treated your friends and family. It was my parents who added the marrying part when discussing with Lucifer-sama. She took a breath and stared into Naruto's eyes with conviction. So please, accept me into your peerage. I will always be loyal to you. Her conviction and honesty stunned Graphia and Cerzex. In all their time, they never heard of someone asking to be a part of a peerage with no ulterior motive since the beginning of the peerage system. And what position do you think you would fit in my family? Naruto asked. That caught her off guard. Well, I was a bishop, so I believe that would suit me well. That won't do, Naruto said as Ravel looked sad at the prospect of not being a part of his peerage. I girl as smart and determined as you deserves to be a queen. The fact that you look like a princess doesn't look bad either. Ravel blushed at the praise while Naruto pulled out a box. He then opened it and pulled out a queen piece from it and held it to her. Will you become my queen, Ravel Phoenix? Flashback over. And that is pretty much what happened. We then did a handful of missions for the remainder of the week before returning home. Kuroka proved her loyalty and was taken off probation but has to keep her tracking seal on for a few months just as a precaution. Naruto told them. That is quite the tale, Sona said as she processed what she heard. So what kind of missions did you three go on? Questioned Rias. She was determined to get back on Naruto's good side and show him how much she cared for him. This was just the first step to that. Nothing too fancy. Killing some stray devils, escorting nobles, and even delivering some documents for something important that is happening soon. What it is, I don't know, Naruto said as Kuroka and Ravel nodded at his words. Sona raised an eyebrow. Documents that were deemed important? Perhaps they were preparing for some meeting in the underworld? Checkmate. Naruto's voice broke her out of her stupor. When she looked at the board, she couldn't stop her jaw from dropping. He had only lost a few pawns on one night, while she only had her king and a bishop left. But how? Sona questioned. What do you mean, how? You focus too much on countering my strategy, Naruto said. Then how did I lose if I was countering your strategy? Sona asked, bewildered. Everyone in the room was shocked. Naruto stood up and stretched. I didn't have a strategy. I knew you were going to have a counter for every move I made. So, I played without ever having a plan. I just moved the pieces I saw fit. He then walked with his peerage to the exit and looked at the clock. He saw that school had only been out for a couple of hours. I'll be back later. I assume you guys will continue the tournament after you both have some more rest. They nodded as Naruto and his peerage left. Rias just looked at the shocked Sona. Are you all right, Sona? Rias asked her. RRY. Sona mumbled out. What was that, Kaicho? Tsubaki asked as everyone leaned in to hear what she said. I have to marry Naruto, Sona yelled as she turned red. What? Was the collective yell of the two peerages. What do you mean you have to marry him? Rias shouted before Kaneko had the chance to. She was concerned as this was her boyfriend. It happened a while back, when I was put in an arranged marriage like you. Sona started. I tried everything to get out of it, but my parents wouldn't have any of it. She took a breath. So I challenged him. I played with his large ego. I challenged him to a game of chess. If he won, I would marry him with no complaints and do whatever he said. But if I won, the contract would be canceled and he was never to bug me ever again. As expected, he accepted and I beat him. But that caused my parents grief with other families. So we came to the agreement that I would be betrothed to the man that could beat me in a chess match. And 511 matches later, Naruto is the first man to defeat me. Sona stated. And are you okay with this? Marrying Naruto, that is? Rias asked with a bit of jealousy. Sona looked away with a bit of red on her cheeks. Well. No one noticed a distraught Kaneko leave the room. School. Well, that was surprising. Naruto returned along with his peerage back to school to find Rias and Sona in an intense dodgeball match. He couldn't help but smirk as he saw Issei and Saji rolling on the ground holding their genitals. No need to ask what happened there. It was a well-fought match, but Rias ended up winning in the end. After the match, she took an hour to rest, and since Naruto wanted her to pick something that would be a good challenge for both of them, she picked a baseball game for the championship. Naruto was no Issei, but he could appreciate the way the baseball uniforms fit on the girls' bodies. But now he was in a predicament. It was the bottom of the 9th inning and they were still tied. Ravel had pitched and threw a phenomenal 9 innings. She didn't give up any runs. And Aquino pitched for Ria's team and produced the same results. He was up to bat with 2 outs. Kuroka was on third, Irina on second, and Zenovia on first. And Naruto had a full count. Do or die, he said to himself. He stepped up to the plate. If you get out Naruto-kun, I'll be sure to reward you later. Aquino said seductively as he stepped up to the plate. Kaneko and the rest of the girls who held affection for Naruto glared at Aquino. No thanks, Aquino. It's my job to make my family happy, and winning this game is the only way to do that. Mao. Aquino pouted. Things settled down as Naruto got into his batting stance and Aquino got ready to pitch. Naruto stared her down as she got in the wind-up. He followed her every movement, even when she purposely made her breast bounce to try and distract him. He followed her hand as she released the ball and saw she was throwing a fastball. One laced with magic to make it faster. He swung and connected with the ball. He watched as the ball soared higher and higher. It was past the infield by now and Kiba was running backwards trying to chase it down. He would never catch it though, as he was stopped by the fence. Grand slam. That's game. Naruto jogged around the bases as his peerage cheered and hollered. Once he touched home plate, they all hugged in a giant group hug. Congratulations, Naruto, Rias said as the group hug ended. Thanks, he said with a small smile. Now if you excuse us, we have some familiars to get, Naruto said before he and his peerage teleported. Rias sighed a bit happily. Naruto wasn't giving her the cold shoulder anymore. Maybe this was a good sign for their relationship as being friends again. Familiar forest. Irina and Zenovia were in awe at the familiar forest. It was so beautiful, and the sound of the familiars were so natural and different than living in the city. /N, I'm not even gonna attempt to try and make the familiar master like he was in the series. How's it going, you youngsters? They all looked up in a nearby tree to see an old man that was dressed to look younger than he was. Naruto groaned as he drowned him out as he explained about familiars and all that. They started walking as Naruto looked around and reminisced to when he came and met Kurama. Yo! Speaking of. Hey Kurama. Naruto said as he felt the fox sit atop of his head. Nothing much. Just telling Shikaku and the other of the recent happenings with you. Oh. Is that a fairy? Naruto smiled as he heard Irina shout. It was nice when things were peaceful. Naruto's home. Knock knock. Naruto woke up from his couch as he heard someone knocking on his door. Naruto rubbed his eyes as he sat up from the couch. After the tournament from earlier and walking through familiar forest was taxing. Irina had found a small fairy to be her familiar. It was more of a support familiar, such as providing healing or small spells to give you a boost. Zenobia had found a wolf familiar. It was fast and strong just like she was. It was also a fighter much like her knight capabilities. Next was Kuroka. She ended up getting Nakomata familiar, which had 2 tails that was white with some black. She happily named it Kirara. Inuyasha. And finally was Ravel. He couldn't help but chuckle at hers. She had found a blue sprite dragon that was quite fond of her for some reason. What was really funny, however, was that it was a water sprite dragon, much to Ravel's chagrin. Naruto stopped his thoughts as he got to the door. When he opened it, he was surprised to see Asia this late, or early since it was 3 a.m. What can I help you with, Asia? Naruto questioned. She fidgeted under his gaze. Well, this has been bothering me for some time now. And with Irina and Zenobia telling me about it, I just had to ask you if you knew anything. Asia said meekly. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. And what might I know? Asia rummaged through her pockets as she spoke. Well, when I was born, I was left at the church's doorstep. I always thought my mom had abandoned me or didn't want me. But she pulled out a picture and looked at it. One of the nuns told me the truth and gave me this picture. My mom was a nun too. But she fell in love and got pregnant with me. The church didn't like that, so they made her leave me. Asia had tears in her eyes. Naruto, however, was starting to sweat. It isn't her, is it? Just a coincidence, right? I found out through Irina and Zenobia that she was in charge of the orphanage of the church here in Kuo. They said she passed when someone attacked it. And she looked at him. Since you were staying at the orphanage, I was wondering if you recognize her. Asia handed him the picture she was holding. And just like that, Naruto's world came crashing down. It was a picture of a woman holding her newborn child. But her looks is what caused Naruto his inner turmoil. That golden hair. Those green eyes. That smile that is forever etched into his memory. That's Alessia. Her name was Alessia. Do you recognize who she is? Naruto started shaking. He fell to his knees as sweat poured down his face. It couldn't be. Ruto. Naruto. Asia yelled as his peerage and Kaneko rushed downstairs due to Asia's yelling. Naruto was laying on the ground trembling. His black markings flashing rapidly as his golden eyes glowed brighter. Stop. I'll do anything you want. Just don't hurt him. His body couldn't take it anymore. He passed out. Kaneko gasped as she saw the picture he was holding. What's wrong? Ravel asked her, concerned. She saw the picture Kaneko was looking at. That's Alessia. They looked at her to continue while Asia gasped. She was the Naruto's caretaker in the orphanage. She was like a mother to him. So what you think? I know it wasn't action-packed or anything, but added some more setup for the story and following chapters. And Naruto's past comes to haunt him once again. For better or worse, wait to find out. And Naruto's trip in the underworld is finally revealed, and how Ravel came to his peerage. Not exactly how I wanted it to go, but I feel it worked out nonetheless. And those of you who are fans of Achievement Hunter like me, I threw in one of the recent quotes they said in GTA, so props to you if you get it. Shout out to Crowfeast for helping out with this story, and Dark King Marcel, who was my partner and the person who gave me the idea to write this story. Until next time. See ya.